ancient feeling, sweet Navajo loving, strong passion, your strong passion of all men, man of all men. Oh baby, my sweet baby, there will never be an end to our love. You've given me all these things. You brought to life all my dreams. Oh baby.
Yarat Navajo Nation. This is your Navajo Nation president, Nikananda Dr. Buu Nygren. Hoje nahuil jisho benesh anito horon kisilnashne. Aro sashin kamasanadon kitchedan lenigi. Edige yego bestan junia le beshe taso dits ako. Hoto asi bes illisle so shi hoto aro shisa kamasanadon kitchedan lenigi shi aje had akis. Jo aje na tin dahaljen nek etchedi hodo ni na sos we get belagan do nek etche ben kisilnashne ne. Aje benesh anito nek etche ben kisilnashne. She hot also beras nito les aro heado les hodo she khanen kiche eshlehto University of Arizona arid nasha aro hot hodenia aro benda san kaschindo san kende de net and lo gatit ahia da ostkhagi are pania hasta nez na honela da ostkha are se yego style gatit ahite shlehto heha Hoje, de nebe Washington, because anje don na asan de zene da shije beka ishlago be la sitni ashjashine UV do Navajo Nation as ka deal was hot oin ka chindo de net and lenigi old khat do yik hawan do yik and atingi aji hoba do ni no na kinde zene da shije beka ishlage hodin khade sha do adqui ogda sad ben ke hade strip de snow hore bania je ade si bestan junie da bedin ni jo di os doat in na khab as lao ashode de nebekeya baka ndo taso ada ze asa na ke tran na khejda de nebeka dos was ashode de snow hot ke chimbe hast hot endishi abi bida hazni hagoshi nat ani gadit ahide schlestan zinde shin hot edoles Cashido horo ado holjisoshi hot end satin daidos kitse schorishin and da neck etchede klahosne da doch ninde ishi radio jihada okis do Spotify do Apple Podcast jo aja iasiego neck etchedit so ishi aja hada okis do hot end a hehen kedini do les hoda asiego kenanta ado horoshi do ben kesnashne upcoming holidays or appreciation days. This week is Navajo Nation Wellness Week at the Navajo Nation Library. Monday and financial wellness. Tuesday and mental and spiritual wellness. Adanda nutritional wellness. Today a physical wellness. Kids wellness day. It's fair season. I know it's Chinle Fair has kicked off. I know that the First Lady was at a youth day event just a few hours ago. So you might have saw the First Lady of the Navajo Nation over there. And she'll be back out this evening judging the pageant. So she'll be out there. So if you want to see the First Lady and say hello, she'll be out there in Chinle, Arizona. And then also there's a lot of events happening. Rodeos, junior rodeos, adult rodeo coming in the coming days. But I look forward to seeing each and every one of you come Saturday. I will see you. Hopefully we shake hands, take a selfie, and at least say hello to one another. So I'm looking forward to Chinle parade on Saturday morning. So I'll see a lot of you there. Also, Rama Fair is happening. I know that's going to be happening as well, and the vice president will be at the Rama Fair as well, so you can say hello to her as well. So that will be on Saturday at the same time. So again, just excited to be here, to be your president. Also, something in the news is the christening of a U.S. naval ship. I know that it's been since 2017 and 2018 when the late Senator McCain was working on trying to have more representation for our Navajo. And I know that this coming weekend in Louisiana, I'm going to have my Veterans Advisory Director, Executive Director Bobby Baldwin out there, and also my Washington office director, Justin Hostine. They'll be out there representing myself and the Navajo Nation as well. So I'm looking forward to them presenting and representing the Navajo people while I'm in Chinle. So again, it's an honor to have a Navy ship named after the Navajo people, and just for their continuous dedication, and for all Native America as well, not just Navajo. So I just want to say thank you to all the people that serve in military and everything along those lines. So thank you. Also, some local announcements. I know I mentioned last week that there was a huge settlement that happened for $63 million for the opioid crisis. And I know this lawsuit has been talked about since the 1990s, and a lot of people from poor to wealthy, well over 500,000 people have died since 1990. So I know that, and then there was 7,300 related to Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah in terms of overdoses and tribal communities. And I know the lawsuit was filed in 2018, and it took this long to get that settlement done. We're looking forward to coming up, giving you updates on how we're actually going to use the funds, the $63 million. But we just want to say thank you to the efforts of our attorneys, and also the attorneys in the Department of Justice, and everybody who played a really critical being an ambassador along those lines. To get $63 million, that's a lot of money. It's hard to even find $10 sometime, but to get $63 million, that's going to be a lot of good for all of us. And I know also, I always mention missing people. I know there's some kids that are missing as well. So again, there's a 28 some Navajo people missing. One is a 28-year-old Britannia Tahi, last seen July 12th. If you know of her whereabouts, call Kayenta Police Department, 928-697-5600. 26-year-old Valcynthia Marie Madman. Again, same thing. If you see her or know about her whereabouts, 928-697-5600. Clarissa Odessa Sam, last seen June 25th. Crown Point Police number is 505-786-2050. I know it's one of those things where I try to make it a mandate to make those announcements, because I know there's a lot of people out there missing their family, their relatives, and their loved ones. So whatever chance I get, using this platform and the radio to make sure that we recognize them and that their families are missing them. So again, I appreciate that if you can find some of that stuff. This time in history, the 19th Amendment, women's right to vote. I think that this is the 103rd anniversary passage of the 19th Amendment, guaranteeing women the right to vote. So I think it's very critical, because I know women play a critical part in our lives each and every day. I know mine does. I know I got a very strong, independent, strong-minded First Lady and wife who keeps me accountable, and we continue to fight and advocate on everything for the Navajo people. So I know that voting is a thing that we got to continue to really work on, because I know representation is critical. Everything that I've done, I've tried to make sure that woman representation is always there. Having been raised by some strong Navajo women, I've never hesitated to try to empower our strong Navajo women. So I think something to think about this time in history. That's pretty amazing. Also, Navajo sentence of the week and life lesson. I think this is one of my favorite parts of the week. We take kind of a life lesson. This one is how your life feels to you is more important than how it looks to others. In Navajo, you would say, "An nisinzinigi het o ba nilhojonigi do be in hegi else laj na bansin kes eyat etodes. Ode den aro yego ban ne chun ne sinzenigi khit ne khojo to khit ben khayahot egi large since nayat. So I know it's a handful, it's a mouthful to really try to uh, go word for word when you translate. But in Navajo, it's very unique. It's very descriptive. In this way, I think the lesson here is continue to monitor what's important to you, how you feel, how you think, and continue to monitor that and empower yourself. And don't worry too much about how other people look at you. So continue to impress yourself and your own mind first, and then move along. This week's accomplishments. Um, Division budgets are being approved. I know that the Budget and Finance Committee, they've met with all of my divisions and all the executive branch. So hopefully soon they'll combine all the budgets and get BNF to approve it, and then push it forward to NABI and then onto the Navajo Nation Council, and then eventually over to me to review and go from there. So again, it's budget season around this time, so it's a lot of work. Many kudos to all the people that are working on the budget, because when you're developing a budget for about 8,000 people, it's very critical, and it's very important too to really push a lot of the initiatives that I'm trying to push forward on a day-to-day basis. And then also the telecommunications regulatory commission reports improved emphasis on federal consultation. I believe that consultation, I know that my director is going to be presenting this morning, or after a few sections after mine. But definitely the thing to note here is that we're developing relationships so that we can have representation. There's millions and millions of dollars coming to the states of Utah, New Mexico, and Arizona, and we want to make sure that we get some of it and we have representation there. And just as of yesterday, when I was down giving a keynote speech alongside Chris Mays, who's the Attorney General of Arizona. And that's one of the things she mentioned too, is to make sure that Navajo representation and broadband build out is at the forefront, because Navajo is also part of the great state of Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah. So whatever we can, and I have a really task, Tico Charlie, to continue to fight and advocate so that we can bring the costs of a lot of telecommunication and broadband down so it can be affordable to our normal everyday people here on the reservation. So again, much kudos, and Tico will be on the line, so he'll provide a more in-depth detailed report. So again, thank you for all the efforts in trying to bring broadband to everywhere on Navajo. Also, another highlight for our public safety is we were able to purchase some new police vehicles, about 60 of them. 60 new vehicles will be showing up next month. It's in good efforts to the General Services Department and Shonovan Dale and his group and his staff for really pushing this forward, and public safety as well, to make sure that our police have updated vehicles that are not overrun or about to fall apart, because we need them every single day, making sure that they can access the roads and be where they need to be. So it's very exciting to see that. So I'm happy for our police department. I know the last time the police units were replaced was in 2015. So it's been well overdue, 8 years, and a lot of them have well over 300,000 miles. And sometimes it costs more money to maintain them, and it's risky too, because we want to make sure our police can get where they need to get without having to worry about them. So again, looking forward to those new police units to come our way. Also, the Navajo Nation received $5.5 million for local food purchase program. And that was one of the things I've really tasked my Washington office group director, Justin Hosteen, and his team, is to make sure that they keep an eye on all these free federal dollars and programs and opportunities, and how can we get a lot of these fundings from the federal government and use them locally. And this is one of those programs from the U.S. Department of Agriculture for local food and purchase assistance program. So at the $5.5 million, it's going to be used over a 2-year program, and we're partnering with NAPI. I know it's going to be able to provide some of the basic necessities that's locally grown within a 400-mile radius of us. So we're going to try to make sure that there's dried beans, potatoes, flour, and cornmeal, and really use a lot of these dollars and those opportunities. So again, many kudos to the Navajo Nation Washington office and my executive director, Justin Hosteen, and his staff, and to NAPI. And then we'll continue to keep the people updated on when these distributions will be happening. But that's $5.5 million that we didn't have. So it's very exciting. I know it's a lot of work. And I know that's one of the things I get criticized sometimes about is you spend too much time in the office. And it's one of those things where I love being there at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., take meetings all the way as far as possible before I have to go leave and do an appearance. So again, many kudos to all the staff that do work for me directly, whether it's an executive director or OPVP staff and their staff. Because one of the questions I always ask to all my staff is that, what are you doing for employee happiness? How are you encouraging? How are you motivating? How are you training your people to be better and to be more customer oriented and action driven? So those are some of the things I really expect out of my people. So I feel like that's the way you get things done. And then some of the major projects I'm working on is we've had leadership discussions this week with the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission staff and executive directors as well. And we talked about the over 500 mines that are continued to be open. And I asked them to make sure that they can continue to help and advocate and fight for us to make sure that with the Navajo Nation helping dearly with over half of the uranium ever extracted in the United States, then they need to make sure that they help us clean it up. All we want is to protect their lands, make sure they're cleaned up, and protect and help our people who've been affected. So it's very simple, and that's one of the reasons why I was very big on making sure those executive orders were signed. So again, that's one of the things I've worked on. And also the other thing that come to mind is the executive orders that I've signed recently. Is recently that on Friday I issued an executive order for the 164B process. Is to really try to streamline, because as president of the Navajo Nation, I oversee all of the executive branch, and I want to make sure that it can be as efficient and as effective as possible to deliver services. Everything is about in Navajo, right? The Navajo Washington, you guys, I think a lot of you have heard that statement on my behalf many times. And that's what's good about being the president is I want to try to do as much as I can on the executive side so that we can get services out there to our people in our community. So I'm very happy to issue executive orders to make statements and to help our people along the ways. And the other thing that we're working on too is a FMIS training. That's the financial management information system that the nation uses. And I'm really a big proponent on making sure that our people that report directly to me understand financial systems and how the systems work. How can you lead a group of people if you don't understand it yourself? So I've really tasked my teams to make sure that they get those certifications themselves so they can be better leaders, better managers, better supervisors, and at the same time be able to better communicate with their staff. So we're having a training next week to make sure that the people that need to get that training get it done. So it's going to be wonderful to try to move that along, because sometimes documents get held up, and just because somebody doesn't know something hurts a lot of people, and that's what I don't want to do. So again, looking forward to that. And also some meet and greets this past week. We've had several meet and greets. One was on Monday. As you're well aware of it, I'm a very big supporter of all of our religious groups, whether you're Christian, whether you're traditional, whether you're Native American church. I'm a big proponent in that, because each and every one of us, the power of prayer, regardless of what you believe in, is powerful to you and your family. So as president, I respect all of it. And we've been in discussions with my Native American church advisor, Stephen Benali, to try to figure out some of the effects on Azet Benahara, the use of peyote in some of the ceremonies, and how they're trying to industrialize it, to have non-Native Americans use it, and to have pharmaceutical companies continue to make it into pills and things like that. But old and guided that keep the medicine as sacred as possible and keep it natural and keep it for the Native Americans and what it was meant to be. So one of the things, myself, Stephen Benali, and we met with a group called the Council of the Peyote Way of Life, and they express their concerns and their alignment with a lot of what we've been talking about. So I'm looking forward to really working with all groups. I know the official group of the Navajo Nation is the Azet Benahara of the Nen Nation, which is created by the Navajo Nation many years ago, well before I was born. But I look forward to working with that organization and these other organizations that are developed and incorporated as well. So we're going to be working on an executive order from the Department of Justice to align with some of the values and to make sure that we make a stance, because all of Native America waits for what is the Navajo Nation thinking. And I know that's an executive order, but at the same time, look forward to the Navajo Nation Council passing their own support legislations as well too. So looking forward to that. But as president, it's a little it's quicker to make things happen temporarily, but looking forward to the support from the Navajo Nation Council as well. And then Tuesday, we met with my old organization, Change Labs. I know they're a great organization out of Tuba City, Arizona, about small business and entrepreneurship. And we've got a partnership with Change Labs and my executive division of economic development and my director. They've really been trying to figure out all the free funding, the SSSBI dollars that have kind of come down the way, and really try to take advantage of the 89 million that was given to us so that we can help distribute that out to the entrepreneurs that don't have to put up the equity in their homes or have lines of credit or certain different avenues, because we don't have those kind of things here on Navajo. So the best way to really provide financial capital to our small businesses, that's what we're really working on. So my goal is to make sure that all $89 million are matched and that we can at least help a couple thousand small businesses start up and continue to move with their operations as well. So thank you to Change Labs, Jessica Stago and her staff that visited me the other day, and to Heather as well. And also the New Mexico Indian Affairs Education Council, Dr. Gray Eyes and her colleagues came in to visit with me and to try to share some of the education policies and practices that will really help our Navajo people. One of the things I've always said was that every Navajo child is just as good as any other Indian child, and those dollars should be reflected the same way. Navajo child shouldn't be worth a quarter, and a different Indian child should be worth $1. It should be both worth $1. So that's my biggest stance when it comes to our education systems, our equity, and our dollars that are associated with Navajo kids. We're just as important as any other Native kids. And also, I went to Blanding. I was their new student orientation, Utah State University's new student and parent orientation. It was exciting to meet all the parents and all the students there and to welcome them to their first semester. So it was a big welcoming in Blanding as well. They were very appreciative. Many kudos to all the parents that I met there. And then yesterday, I was at the employee training conference for the Navajo Nation Judicial Branch. I spoke with Chief Justice Joanne Jane, Associate Justice Eleanor Shirley, and all the staff, everybody that works within the Hashkeje, Nahata, Navajo Judicial Branch, and Attorney General from Arizona, Chris Mays was there as well. Basically, I told them, take this time to recharge, revamp, so that when you show up on Monday, we're ready to go to reopen and continue to provide services that our people direly need. And then tomorrow, I'll be in NTUA. So I'll be in NTUA tomorrow. And before I get there tomorrow, there's also an event that I'll be attending tonight, which is the veterinarians graduation. We have 3 Navajo students graduating tonight as veterinarians at the University of Arizona. And a lot of you know that I signed that MOA a couple of months ago as well. It was the first of its kind to really provide veterinarian full scholarships to our people, where then U of A matches, Navajo Nation matches, because there's a big need for veterinarians. We need people to take care of our horses, our cows, our dogs, our cats, our animals. And so I'm a big proponent of that. So I'm looking forward to seeing our Navajo veterinarians graduates tonight, U of A. So it's going to be exciting there. So everybody at U of A was very excited when I met with the law students today. They say, "Hey, President." I think some of them mentioned the colors. Like I wear U of A colors. No, nothing against my Sun Devils. Okay, I didn't mean anything. These are just my colors. So again, it's good to be down here in Tucson. Then tomorrow I'll be in Red Mesa. There's a solar project site. Sits on 500 acres, and it's going to generate about 21 million in taxes over the life of the project. And it's about 70 megawatts. So I'll be in Red Mesa tomorrow around noon. So if you want to stop on by and say hello, I'll be in Red Mesa, Utah tomorrow. So with that being said, I'm going to come to a conclusion, and we're going to have the next person jump on. But again, just very thankful to be your president And again, if you really want to hear the Navajo side, tune into Spotify or KTNN, KGAK, or KNDN, 1 o'clock and at 5:30. So, hoto, kyahan kadini dali, asi yego. Shislin long hodo, the nebanant an hanshnigi, yat to kyahan nan kadini doro, hodo hada akison, juno, ben kilnashne, which, si bohonet long, which in hanashnishigi, kyadoli, don jonago, nade no katali, horoshi. Calvin Castillo with Division of Community Development, Kisnahos Nitole, one of my executive directors. With that being said, thank you and hagone.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can hear me. My name is Calvin Castillo. I'm from St. Michael's, Arizona. Twitichili Chlito, Betani Bashichin, Kachilis are my Ches, and Kazatlana are my Nellies. Like I said, I reside in St. Michael's, but I really grew up in Standing Rock, New Mexico, out in the middle of the desert. Did some sheep herding, cattle, horses, all that stuff before I moved to Denver, Colorado. Got my engineering degree, came back, worked for the Bureau, and I came on with the Nygren and Montoya administration. This is my first time working for the tribe. I'm enjoying my almost 9 months now, and it's going fast. So with Division of Community Development, we got 5 programs. The first one I'm going to go over is the ASC, which is the outfit that oversees the 110 chapters. What we do is we have an MIP system. It's a maintenance manual software that the chapter uses to keep their accounts in order, and we help them maintain that and give them advice. So that's what we're doing with that. Also, we're giving us some training on those keeping a cuff account of how the chapter projects our accounts are being kept. Trying to get it more transparent so the community can see how the chapter funds are being utilized. Also, the ASC side, right now, there's a declaration for extreme heat. So we're working with the Incident Command Center, the emergency management people, and we provided from the chapters, we gathered information from the chapters of how many had cooling stations, any room with air conditioner. If a resident out there is experiencing some type of heat, stress or things like that, they can get to those cooling stations and kind of cool them down a bit. Also, the emergency management is going to try to get 4 pallets of water to the chapters. First thing we got to do, we're following the FEMA process. So the 213 forms need to be filled out and turned into emergency management. So all those documents can be compiled. And then the emergency management will be contacting the chapters to pick up the 4 pallets of water. The contract is with BASHs. So if you're closest to the BASHs that's near you, just go ahead and get over there once the go ahead and call is made to the chapter or an email saying that you can go pick up your water. So that's where that's at. Also, we're working with the chapters on. I got a new ASC department manager. His name is Jerron Charlie. He just did this type of capacity work for Gila River. He's worked with the tribes down there, so he's pretty knowledgeable. As the president said, that we need to learn how to use the WIN system and FMIS. So he's trained himself on updating everything that needs to be done to learn the program. So we're very familiar with that. So he's going to be going out with the chapters, introducing himself, what capacity he's going to be helping with the chapters. One of the main things I want him to focus on is to help the chapters put the emergency management plan together. So any type of declaration that comes out, we know what exactly needs to be done, what forms to be filled out, who the incident commander is, where the emergency management system is going to be set up, where all the contact numbers are going to be. That will be provided. So with the Club C development, with my Club C staff, they'll get a list of which chapters need to finalize their emergency management plan, and Mr. Charlie will be helping with that. So I'm glad that we got him on board, and he's very familiar with that, and we're looking forward to working with the chapters, as I said. The next program is the CPMD. That's where all the capital outlay projects are. With the Arizona projects, they're pretty much self-explanatory. There's really no deadlines on those Arizona capital outlay projects. For the New Mexico capital outlay projects, there's a lot of deadlines. Most of it is once a project is identified, we have 6 months after an IGA is agreed to spend 5% of that funds within 6 months. And usually if it's a contract construction project, then it'll take about three years to complete that contract. So there's time limits on that, on those projects. One of the main things we need to start focusing on with the capital outlay projects is we need to help the chapters come up with a good estimate and what they really want. Let's take, for example, a warehouse. If they want a warehouse, they need to know what size it needs to be. If whatever they're going to put in there, as far as air conditioning, do they have the power lines to run that operation? If they're going to put a bathroom or anything along that line based on the occupancies, kitchen or anything like that, then we've got to meet sprinkler systems and things like that. So we're going to have to make sure that there's enough water for that warehouse that can have a sprinkler system. Also, with the new building code requirements that was passed on the last the council session, we need to go and start inspecting a lot of the foundation, a lot of the electrical work, a lot of the walls, everything that needs to be, that's going to be in those building codes. We're going to have to develop a team. That's in our budget plan this year. So that's one of the main things we're going to be focusing on is on the occupancy, building codes, and depending on the occupancy levels of how that building is going to be used. So a lot of outreach, a lot of training or work sessions that we got to work with the chapters on what they want with their buildings. Once they go from 1,000 square foot building to an 1,800 square foot building, of course, the operation and maintenance costs is going to go up. So we need to educate them on that, and possibly the insurance costs will go up when they go to a bigger structure. So that's some of the things that CPMD side, Mr. Dwayne Wasetta, he's got like 30 years experience in this. We're putting a plan together with all the CSN capital outlay, all the other funding sources that's there, even the FRF projects. We're putting a 5-year plan together how to get those projects out. We'll be presenting that hopefully within 6 to 7 months. That's how long it's going to take to put this program, because each one's unique. Each one has different deadlines, and each one will have, like I said, maybe the right-of-way is not done for a power line. We'd have to add all the stuff that wasn't considered when the fundings was asked for. So we got close to more than 800 projects that we got to vet, look at, put them in the priorities. We got them in categories now: construction, power lines, renovations, water lines, sewer systems, bathroom additions, and vehicle purchase or heavy equipment purchase. So with those, we'll have different deadlines and project listing that we're going to put together on that 5-year plan. Also, on the CPMD side, we're looking for staffs. We need project managers. If you got no people that have some type of project managing experience, we have 2 or 3 openings over here. Please come on by. We'll show you the ropes of what needs to be done, what kind of person, what kind of software, what kind of projects you'll be looking at. Kind of run you through what we need as a project manager. Then you can go and apply at HR and see if we can get you guys on board, because we really need a lot of help here. We're only have 5 project managers now, and like I said, and we got like close to 800 projects, and I've overloaded the folks here. So do we really need help? But that's still on the CPMD side. Let's go to the FRF, the Fiscal Recovery Funds, the chapter projects. We got the IDIQ contract, the indefinite quantity, indefinite delivery contract with the 4 firms. They'll be working with the chapters now. They're going to be vetting the chapter projects. Almost the same thing. They're going to look at it since these estimates were done in 2019. We're going to meet, especially for the construction and renovation projects, we need to see if those cost estimates are still valid. A lot of prices have gone up, supply chain issues and all that stuff. Just like power lines, power poles, almost the turnaround time for a pole is about 8 months. And some of the drop down to wire the housing, some of that's up to 12 months, a year out to get those type of parts. So that's what we need to look at and get the construction schedules put together and see if we meet these FRF, the ARPA deadlines, and get the money encumbered and get these projects out. So the 4 firms will be working with their chapters now. They're having their kickoff meetings, going through, and we gave them the list of the projects that they'll be working on. Also, we gave them the master list of all the projects that we have to make sure there's no duplications. Some projects may be on the CSN project, some may be on the capital outlay projects, some might be on the permanent trust fund project. So we got to make sure that when there's no duplication, and we'll keep the project in which funding source is coming up fast, which one of the deadlines is coming up. So that's what we're going to be doing with those projects. Also in the FRF, I'll go over, that was section 3 of the chapter funding. And then I'm going to go over the bathroom additions. The bathroom additions, we got a contract out. We got finally going to get the signatures process done. We thought we were going to get that out real quick, but finally we're going to get a notice to proceed out and then get a pre-construction meeting going with the contractor. They already submitted their schedule. They submitted their quality control plan and how they're going to meet how they're going to build these bathroom additions. What we need to inspect, the concrete, everything that's the foundation, everything for the the bathroom additions. That's what we're looking at. I'm gonna go to section 9. We're waiting for the quarterly reports on the power line connections, and that's a subrecipient agreement was given to NTOA on that. Section 10 is housing. We got mostly all the assessment done of the 10 applicants we got from each chapter. So now we're just going to start making the decisions to make those projects. And I'll talk to you again later. Thank you.
Good afternoon. She Claudia Edgewater and she she my discussion shown the look at the Nepashin although she ate the shade dot ate the shell. Hakot Egotines Sunshine. I am the acting superintendent of the Department of Diné Education. Welcome this great afternoon. Like to see everybody online this afternoon. So I'm going to share some information with you all, and I hope everybody's enjoying the moisture that we're getting from this rain. But back to school. Kids are back to school, and very nice to see them in the morning waiting at the bus stop. Just make sure that you talk to your kids and grandkids and make sure that they are aware of safety. Don't go too close near the roads, making sure that they're out of harm's way. So just a little extra safety note on that one. Another thing is I'd like to share with you guys information about school improvement. You might want to talk to your schools about their current school improvement plan. Every school has a school improvement plan because there's, expectation that continuous improvement needs to happen. So you are a part of that process as well. So make sure you reach out to your schools. The school improvements can encompass like cultural activities, parents, school communications, academic performance, teaching and learning. So make sure you're able to touch base with your schools and inquire about their current school improvement. You are also a part of that process because kids come home to see you. You want to support your kids in their academic endeavors. So please reach out to your schools and request for that information. Another thing in lieu of that is also the school curriculum. The curriculum is about how schools create teaching and learning environments for your kids and for the academic standards that are implemented in the schools. So those curriculums should be approved, and it's about how teachers deliver instructions, how it makes it equitable for kids to learn, and within that, what type of learning is assessed and how they monitor continuous improvement. So just a little FYI for that. Today is Central Fair's Kids Day. It's happening in Chinle. That's today. Our Department of Youth would also, they're currently accepting Navajo Youth Advisory Council members for 2023-25. The application are available at the NA Youth Centers in Chinle, Crown Point, Fort Defiance, Shiprock, and Tuba City. So in the administration building here at Window Rock. Any questions or concerns, please reach out to Ms. Thomas. Thank you very much. The number is 928-871-6518. Also, we have Navajo Nation Kids Day that will be happening here at the Navajo Nation Fair on September 7th as well, and that's on Thursday, so please come out and join us. From our Office of Diné Accountability and Compliance, there was this past summer 19 schools that were reauthorized Navajo tribally controlled schools by the Navajo Nation Board of Education. Also for this upcoming year, there's 19 schools coming up for reauthorizations that the school will be requesting assistance and supporting information from their chapter for chapter resolutions. So there's also Navajo Control schools should be providing parents and community members with a set schedule, as far as information communicating to you when board meetings are happening and things of that nature. So please reach out to your schools as well. According to the BIE, wonderful news, there's been 11% increase in Indian education program funding. And this is for all BIE funded schools. It's called ISEP is the acronym. And so it's just how students, your child enrolled at a school brings in funding for the school. So that's increased 11%. Also, there's also a 17% increase in the ISEP transportation funding as well. So just helpful information there. So for the Office of Navajo Nation Scholarship, they're in the process of awarding the fall 2023 school or session. So please check on the status of your application on the portal there, the scholarship portal. Students can, if you don't have an account, you can create an account, just set up your username and password. And the website is www.onnsfa.org. So please keep monitoring that and look into that for your funding for this fall session. With our department, our Office of Special Education and Rehabilitation Services, they will be conducting a 2023 Early Childhood Summit on Friday and Saturday, October 6th and 7th at Twin Arrows Resort and Casino in Flagstaff. So this summit will cover and help guide decision makers and using best practice and innovation for early childhood services and family services as well. So if you're interested, please attend that. Another thing we also have at our same department is Child Fine. Child Fine will be hosted on August 25th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Chinle department. It's next to Cellular 1 and right there on Navajo Route 17 in Chinle, Arizona. Child Fine is very important because if you are noticing any type of maybe delays or probably possibility of disability with your child from infant to 3 years old, Child Fine is available to you, and it's to be able to screen your child and provide them the services if needed. So once again, if you have questions about that, please attend the Child Fine screening August 25th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the Chinle area. So that's information there. And then also moving on to the Navajo Nation Head Start by Acting Assistant Superintendent Tracy. Right now, open enrollment is open. It can be durational, which is a 12-month session, or it can be seasonal, which is 9 months at the Head Start centers as well. Also, we have a big congratulations to the Head Start as well from New Mexico Pre-K awarded us an additional $8.6 million This will provide funding for professional development, materials and supplies, and teacher support for New Mexico Head Start centers here as well. The Navajo Nation Library, the Summer Reading Program Challenge was a success. They had 317 participants this past summer. There will be another author's reading and visit in September. So there's some other things to save the date. Please mark your calendars for October 6th, a celebration of Diné authors from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock at the Window Rock Library. 2 authors will be there present to host and have questions and answers as well. October 31st, Trunk or Treat will be in the parking lot of the Navajo Nation Museum here in Window Rock as well. So please come out and join us for that. Late September, they're going to begin the digital literacy, and this is just going to be basic courses. For the year, approximately the library, they've had about users and visitors to the library usage is about 30,000 people for the year so far. So we also have some job vacancies available at Department of Diné Education. So please reach out to the website of DPM and apply. We would love to welcome and join you to join our team here, make a difference in education. But, you know, like I said, other than that, wonderful to be with you all online today. Thank you very much. Please encourage your kids to have a wonderful day at school. Please support and make sure you guys read books at home. Tell them the importance of safety. Like I said, if they're at the bus stop, if they're going to go to after school tutoring or go to sports activities, please make sure they check in with you and they're accounted for. So, but other than that, thank you very much for spending your time with us. Please stay safe, please stay warm, and carry an umbrella and have a good one. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Tico Charlie. I'm of the I'm the Executive Director for the Telecommunication Regulatory Commission Office. And this week we've been working quite a bit with the what they call the NTIA group, which is National Telecommunication Information Administration Office. And this is basically set up for the for the United States President as a principal advisor on telecommunication. That's what this group does on there. And in there, they incorporated a little portion there called the BEADS program, which is Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program. Out of that, they have another program called the IIJA, Infrastructure Investment and Job Act. The BEADS and the IIJA, they work together because it appropriated $42.5 billion. In that on there, we work with the 3 different states, the New Mexico, the Arizona, and the Utah. When we're doing that on there, we're also a part member of the, we sit on the council for the state of New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah's government broadband initiative group on there. And it's called Connect New Mexico, Connect Meeting. We have it in the 3 different states. In there, we're making sure that the Navajo Nation is at the table because the 3 different states under these programs, they get X amount of money. And when they do, they get anywhere from 3 million up to 900 million. And we want to make sure that the Navajo Nation itself is at the table and they do get money from there, which is the way it's supposed to go because they have to do state tribal consultation of it. And they've been working with us quite a bit. And in that, while they're doing that, they have been asking the NNTRC and Broadband Office how they can help us, which was very unique because in the states on there, we have a lot of support right now, which is what we need on there. And this is part of the initiative, what our tribal leaders here have been pushing. Our president there has been pushing quite a bit of connectivity, government-to-government type of relationship, which is really what we need on there. And the state of Arizona even came forth. The governor of the state of Arizona had come forth and did mention this in the council They want to better their I guess their communications with the tribal entities on there. So it really makes a big difference on there. So we've been working with them. And the other portion of this, we have what they call connect affordability costs. The affordability costs on there makes a big difference to tribal entities. And I really, really recommend it that you guys would call whoever your service providers are. I don't care if they're cellular or a regular phone company. Talk to them. Tell them you want what they call ACP, which is the Connect Cost program on there. And what it does is it brings down your cost to $25 a month. And some of them will go to $35 a month, and it also will bring your internet service down to $75, meaning that the $25 and the $75 on there, well, it goes $35. You almost get $105 free that will help you with your internet and phone. So our goal is to bring it down to 25 by 2025. If we can, we'd like to bring it down lower. And that's one of our goals and our objectives on there. And so we're looking at all these funds on there from the states and having them work more closely with us on there to bring better broadband service and to incorporate a better speed process on there. There's a lot of things that go with that right now. Several of our service providers we've given them the APR, American Rescue Plan Fund, out to them to increase their services. So most of them are going up to 5G, and that's happening right now. There's different spots that we're working with the service providers. They're giving us deadlines where they're trying to get these things out a lot quicker. So you can look at 100 and 5G up there. And one of the interesting part about this all is the other tribes are also looking at us on there to see how far we progress, and they're asking us for help a lot of the areas on there. So we have a lot of availability. A lot of other companies are looking at us right now. So it's quite interesting how this is working, but we're here for the people, and we want to be here for the people, and we want to keep costs down. One of the ones that like competitiveness because it brings costs down. And the consumers, which is the people on the reservation, should have a right to choose. And that's what we're trying to instill right now, a lot more involvement even from the community. I like to hear from the community. And because some of it gets very complex, but that's what I'm here for. And I'm straightening those things out right now. So it's becoming a little bit more competitive. And I did work with all the service providers, which was very unique. We've never done that before, but we got a lot of the service providers now saying that they can meet our needs. So I always tell them, if you're going to talk the talk, you better walk the walk. And that's what they're doing right now. And it's making it very viable. We did look at a lot of the different satellites. I've been working with FCC, and we finally got some of the portion with Starlink and Biosat. It's a satellite company. And we finally got them to where FCC was listening to us, because I told them that we cannot, one size does not fit all because of the complexity of the terrain environment. So they're trying to work with us on that. And when they do, we got them where the FCC can now support them with the ACP, which will keeping the costs down. And we want to keep that all across the board on there to make sure it happens on there. So we are working also with the different land status group on there for the right-of-way portion on there, where a lot of even the federal government is working with us now as a government-to-government type relationship to keep this momentum going on there. So we're not letting it drop. We're keeping it going. And as a final note, tomorrow, RAMA is having their fair going on, and we had gotten invited down. They're doing their first groundbreaking for fiber communications down there to hook up 600 homes. And the New Mexico Council Committee Group is going to be down there because they did help them also achieve some of the funding. So we're all going to be down there. So I really do. The community would like for everybody to come down and show their support for that on there. We're going to be there for the groundbreaking, and they're looking at hooking up 600 homes with fiber. And I want to thank you right now, and thank you again, and be safe, please.
Good afternoon, Yate. Thank you for tuning in on this Facebook Live. My name is Arvin Mitchell, with the Office of President, Vice President. Every year around this time, we do the Navajo Nation fiscal year budget. So it's that time again. So we started back in March. The first action that Navajo Nation does is establish the general fund's revenue projection. So that revenue projection then turns into a personnel and operating budget. So how does Navajo Nation determines its revenue projection? All the revenues that comes from the oil and gas, also from the coal, we still have one coal mine, and then from all the taxes, and then the investment, then also the land rentals and the right-of-way. So all this made a revenue projection of $216,602,000. So that's our revenue projection for FY24. Then once a projection is realized, there's a takeoff in mandatory set-aside of $55,388,000. So this set-aside is the land claims, the permanent fund income and scholarship. So all that totals $55 million. And then the next step is the revenue net. So when you minus 55 million from 216 million, you come up with 161,214,000. So that is the net general funds revenue. And then a couple of years ago, there was a resolution that was put in place, the Permanent Trust Income Resolution. Back in probably in the 90s, then President Zaw and the administration and the council, but during that time, set aside permanent trust money. So that wasn't used until recently. And then 2 years ago, the Navajo Nation Council and then the government put a resolution together that will start using some of these monies for operating the Navajo Nation. So this is in our second year of using this fund. So we'd like to thank the previous leadership in putting these monies in place. So this year, 61 million was realized from the permanent trust income. 61 million, that's a lot of money. And then based on the resolution, the Navajo Nation government can use 40 million for personnel and operation. So when you add 40 million plus the general fund net income of the 161,214,000, the total budget number that we'll use for budgeting is 201 million. 201 million. Though the other part to this permanent fund income is the access. So when you minus 40 million from 60 million, there's a 21.5 million that is out there that can be used for unmet needs. Last year there was 27 million that was there, but Navajo Nation Council and the administration then used the full 27 million. So if it's not used, it goes back into the undesignated reserve. So that is just a quick overview on how the revenue projection is set, and then also what the numbers are to use for the FY24 budgeting. Based on We started the oversight committee meetings a couple of weeks ago. Oversight this week and last week we had budget and finance committee do a comprehensive budget, meaning that there's 4 committees out there, and then 4 committees make recommendation on programs within the Navajo Nation, and then budget and finance committee will be combining all those recommendation and numbers together to make one comprehensive budget. A legislation will probably be dropped today or tomorrow. Next week, it'll be going through the 5-day comment period. So next week, Budget and Finance Committee will be doing action on that comprehensive budget. And then the next step is the Nabikia Committee, which will happen August the 31st and September 1st. And then the final action will be done by Navajo Nation Council on September 5th to the September 8th. After that, when it's done, the final action is done by the President of Navajo Nation. And then also during this time, the President can veto some of these budget line items, sign the budget into law. So that's the process of our Navajo Nation budget process. But before we went to oversight, we had executive branch put the budgets together based on the administration's priority. Guideline. So it went through the process. The oversight process, and then nothing major has changed what we submitted. Maybe next time I'll go ahead and go further into what happened at Budget and Finance Committee and other committees. Thank you very much.
The eastern sky as I'm standing on this reservation road. Been looking forward to this day, but now it wants roam. 'Cause this road takes me back to my baby's house. Reservation road, take me home.